he is there, but normally he doesn't have to go all out like he did last game.
All right, let's see which map we're going to be playing on for this series. 7 map pool, 6 down, and Villa, very technical for Cloud9. Jess, I see you out there. What's the reasoning?
It's a bit of a rematch. A little bit of a rematch here on Villa. I like it. You know what? I mean, they've beaten Giants on it before, granted. You know, how much stock do you put in that in the regular season? I don't know.
We're
but
still
Giants
in the regular
have beat.
season, though.
I mean,
look, don't listen to him, Jess.
In the mini major, how much
we don't
stock
call
do you put in the mini major compared to the regular season?
I made
around and go, are they going to put up the same performance they did? I'm not 100% sure, because you look at who Giants have beaten in the regular season, and yes, okay, fair enough, they beat them, but that was a little. You know what? I'm not even going to argue.
It's one-on-one right now.
It is. We've got semantics happening here. For this.
We got a bit of time to kill here before all our players are in and ready. So yeah, we can argue semantics for it. But you know, how you see it from your perspective? How are you weighing all of this?
That's the thing, right? Like Cloud9 are yet to beat Giants during a regular season matchup, because the 3 times they faced, I believe, during the regular season, which was round number 5 of stage 1 and round number 10 of phase 1, they were both won by Giants. And then in the second round of stage 2, they also won. So the only time they lost against them was in that major, was in the grand final, where Cloud9 had an absolute wonder performance going in, and Giants looked a bit weak. They didn't really seem to be at the right place. So I'm actually having faith in Giants here. I think Giants are going to be able to pick it up. They looked quite strong. They looked really consistent throughout the stage, and they were only beaten by Cyclops, who are currently the best team in the phase. So like you can say Giants, they're looking really confident here, whilst Cloud9, they look shaky every now and then.
I have to contend you just a little bit and devil's advocate you, because Cyclops beat Giants on Villa, right? So if we're looking for a weakness here, if Cloud9 are going, what is the weakness of Giants recently? Because you can't look too far back with Giants, because there's just too much consistency over the board. You have to go, recently, how are they looking? What can we pinpoint recently to really pull apart here and counter them on? Villa was the one they went up against CAG and lost. So at the end of the day, is that their biggest weakness recently? Probably yes.
If that's the only map they've lost on recently, then that is the only thing you can really go on, because you know, Giants, they like to play various different maps, and if they only lose one so far this stage, then you're probably going to have to put all your cards on that one map, because what else do you know? Because they won all the rest.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it looks like our match is pretty much ready here, so we're going to kick it off. I was just going to ask about, you know, deals, how to deal with one another, how to deal with your operator bans, etc. But we're going to
I want to see it live. Let's see how they do it.
Exactly. Let's toss it over to our casters, Gio and Dev. Giants v Cloud9. All yours. Wow, Korean team. I would have thought.
Thanks so much, Milosh. Dev, this is going to be a fun one. At this point in the season, across the many months that we've been doing this, we've seen these two teams come up against each other a number of times, and it seems to be the clash of the titans every single time.
This is the APAC King and Queen at the moment, but who will be the bridesmaid and who will be the bride today? Cloud9, not with the community vote. Giants stealing it by a landslide, 71%. I don't think that in any way, shape or form credits Cloud9. Yes, of course, the last time these teams played each other in the start of Stage 2, it was on this very map, and Cloud9 lost it to Giants 5-7. If you look further back in Stage 1, Giants also beat Cloud9 on Consulate and on Cafe. It looked like it was dead to rights. Giants were simply the better team, and then Cloud9 stole the major from them in a reverse sweep. Unbelievable. That's what that was. But now we are back in the regular season. Hap has said it, and these teams are ready to sink their teeth into each other. It's another IQ ban. Wow. This is actually the exact same ban that Cloud9 did last time these guys played each other on this map in the major, and that was won by Cloud9. I really like that IQ ban. Really limits the amount of information gathering Giants have that they can bring to the table, and it also is a bit of a comfort pick for quite a few of these Giants players, including Jordan, who they mentioned on the desk.
It's an interesting one as well because it's an operator that we know Envy Taylor also likes to play, and that's one of those things sometimes where you decide to go against the comfort pick of your opposing team. You have to judge whether or not it's worth taking it off your own team as well, particularly if you like to play it quite a bit. But evidently, Cloud9 have decided that that is going to work in their favor, and for the last ban, we have Wamai.
Poor Wamai. I feel like he's been relegated to that position where we often see Mira and Echo back in the old days. You just don't get to play Wamai anymore. It's a common ban for many teams. I guess you could say popularized by All Mate BDS over in Europe, but it's just a standard one these days. And I think it's a great way to really restrict the amount of projectile denial that the defenders have access to. You're really leaning on that Jaeger that we see Jordan bringing right now. And of course, keep in mind, Thatcher's open, and that could be utilized. Is that what Harper's 6 picking too? Maybe. No, Dockerby. All right. So these guys are leaning very much into that room clear strat. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Guys, clip it. Mom, I need to show that to my... No, okay. So the idea here is Thatcher often banned, but no, he is in, and not only is that going to mean that any wall denial can be removed really easily, it's not on the table, but any ADSs can be dispatched with super easily. You can't just stack 3D ADSs, for example, in the closet or on a doorway, because one EMP is going to disable all of those.
I actually quite like it as well, because when these two teams played here on Villa back in Phase 1 of Stage 2, Cloud9 got rid of Thatcher. You mentioned that he is quite a common ban. It was Cloud9 themselves who did it, and now they're going to be utilizing him. So maybe it's the start of something new, and they can change things back round from the 7-5 that occurred before, but of course you then have to think about the fact that it's also available to your adversaries as well. And once again, it comes down to all about balancing those risks. Now, I quite like this. This is something that we've seen quite a lot, is the basement be utilized for these large roams and large flanks that can be played by these teams. It's so large, and you have the staircases at many points across here. And if you're not watching your flank properly, you can very easily get caught out.
Nice little rotation, 2 hits on the barricade and a couple of shots to make it so that he can crouch on through. Very nice. And one thing I am concerned a bit about with this Giants roam is, of course, the amount of counter roam operators, I guess you could say, that Cloud9 are bringing to the table. I'm thinking that Jackal and how he can scan the footsteps and spot out these players. Let's see, there you go. Already knows that one player has rotated back to site. Jordan moving some of these ADSs. It was actually a closet hold despite Thatcher being left in, and Giants are going to rotate some of that utility. Luna to take that place in the closet. Still a couple gunfights exchanged as Cloud9 have taken that south side map control.
I think it's nice that he had the opportunity to remove the ADS before you had the risk of the Thatcher coming on by, because it means that before there's the opportunity for the EMPs to be used in the closet, you have that. Before there's the opportunity for Jackal to continue on with what he's doing, Envy Taylor gets taken out quite brutally there by, I believe that was Hysterix who got that kill?
Yep, it's weird seeing Malusi with the MP5 and the kill feed in it, but hey, it works. It gets the job done. Malusi still very much a prevalent operator here, and, well, the Roma takes down the roam counter, and eventually, well, Ysera's found one as well. What is this flank? Cloud9 took full control of the south side of the map, and now Ysera has said, I want some in on that as well. 2 kills. It looks like Cloud9 are at the end of their rope.
It looked like Static could very much have secured that as well, but the fact was Ysera was just too ready for it. So, as you say, could be at the end of their rope. You can see the players from Cloud9 moving on up. There's a nice kill. That prevents the C4 from being thrown out as well. So you've started to stunt a little bit what Giants are doing, but there's still not loads of time left. There's about half a minute, and you have half as many players as your opponents.
But never count out shot. Always been a player to watch for Cloud9. The lifeline in tow, but does he have enough explosives to remove that shield? These shields are most definitely a hindrance now for Cloud9, and Jordan on the back of one will find a kill. Charles to eventually get Luna there, but he's got to find 3 more players, and he'll go passive on the back of that. No chance he's winning the round, so he's not even going to try it. He'll stat pad. Jordan's going to give him a free frag. No, he's not. Jordan's going to give him a bullet to the face. See you later, Charles. You're not saving your KD this round.
No, it would appear not. Cloud9 got significantly weakened very early on in the round, and I think this is something that we've seen from Cloud9 historically. Obviously, it's fair to say that any team, when they get significantly weakened, is at a disadvantage. But I always find that when Cloud9 lose Envy Taylor early, it definitely provides a much less strong version of the team than they otherwise could have been. Because despite the fact that you would look to a player like Xiao, for example, to be getting a lot of those impactful kills throughout the round, Envy Taylor usually comes up quite big towards the end of the round as well, if he's still alive. So having lost him very early, a really big hindrance there for Cloud9. Hopefully, for their sake, it won't happen again, but Giants are looking quite coordinated and quite dominant so far.
Interesting 6-pick coming from Hysterics. He was on the Pulse. Now, Pulse is an operator we've seen Giants leverage a lot on this map here, especially with that Valkyrie band out. You're probably looking at your Pulse for a lot of information. I think we'll still likely see him return for the dining defense, but for now, we're not going to be seeing the Pulse standing in Vault, getting information on the Skull doorway, which is where Jordan is right now. It's actually called Skull because there's a little skull there on the landing on the west side of the doorway. Let's see if medics can show that for us. Any chance we can have a look at the skull? There you go. I see a lot of comments. Why do people call this skull? There's a little skull statue. There you go, right there. Very call out there because that is one of the main ways that attackers will push in for that plant. And the pulse being gone means that you won't have a pulse and vault giving info on that doorway, but you will have the evil eyes. And it's something that Cloud9 is going to have to clear out. And with how poor, I guess you could say, they were at clearing out the shields on the previous attacker stat, I think this is a great decision from Giants to lean even more into that bulletproof utility because Cloud9 seemingly are not dealing with it.
No, and I mean, even last round, what we saw was Xiao tried to deal with the shield that was present in Statuary, and he used both of his impacts and still couldn't get anything. There was still a shield standing in Trophy as well. So when he struggled to deal with that last time, and partially because of how weakened his team had become, it does make you wonder, are you going to be able to deal with all of the bulletproof utility as well? Of course, Static can be on that, but he went down a bit earlier last time. It's just all these things that you have to think about, and that their early losses really didn't help them out with before.
And that giant elephant in the room that we didn't discuss is the clash, but oh, hello, there you go. Hysterics is going to shut down Harper. I don't really know what the idea was there for the Thatcher, but it's a lot of util gone. Not only is that a potential counter to the Evil Eyes, to the ADSs from Jaeger, but also to that clash. Wow, I can't believe Charles found that kill. And another one as well, fully concussed, but he still gets it, and a second to follow up. Now numbers are back on even, and critically, we still have these concussions remaining for Charles, and that's the key to taking down the clash. But of course, the ADS there chews up the last remaining concussion. Now we're at a 3 versus 3, and Giants held all the cards.
Still crucially have the clash up, and she's holding both those impacts as well as Hysterics as well, so those are still on the board. A nice kill from Speakeasy gets Envy Taylor, and that leaves once again to Xiao and Nova. They didn't have the Selmas for very long in the last round. Nova got taken out pretty early, so at the very least that is potentially an option, and it looks like it'd be quite hard to move in through Aviator given where the clash is placed. So Cloud9 are probably going to have to go through another way. Charles pinging out into the corridor as he crouches around 90. He sees the shield, and you can tell that Giants also know where he is as Speakeasy tries to get the shot in through the soft wall.
What a disgusting position to be in, Vishal. So difficult to try and push up forward with those holes in the wall and with that deployable shield to contend with Speakeasy. It's his playground. And Ysera, of course, can support. Hysterics holding the Elder in his hands, making the peek on the Shard, does a bit of damage, and he can pre-fire for days. Ysera, though, eventually shut down, but Nova, the team kill as well. He's left with it all to do. And Hysterics, he opened the round, and he most certainly closed it there for Giants.
Oh, and that could have swung in the way of Cloud9 as well had the team kill not happened. Giants will be thanking their lucky stars that just made it so much easier for them to finish off the round, despite the fact that the clash got taken down. A situation that maybe they could have gotten away with. Actually, as soon as that happened, I thought, okay, Cloud9 might actually have this now. But narrative voice, they did not.
Yeah, I was very confused as to how Charles died there. It's such a shame as well, because that Zafir player was really a significant boon for Cloud9. Yes, Giants found the opening pick, but it was the Zafir of Charles to not only find that first kill, while fully concussed, I might add, and a second kill as well, and that put it in that even 3v3. Giants did bite back, however, and yeah, maybe it was possible in the end, but they shut it down. We're going to have a look at what Cloud9's bringing to the table this round. They've made some changes, haven't they? And it's funny to me, the thing that Cloud9 has really struggled with round upon round is having enough explosive utility to destroy even the deployable shields. Like that round, I don't even think they got to the point of destroying the Evil Eyes on the bomb site. It was just shields that they couldn't even contend with. And now, yes, there's an extra set of nades in the Finker, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. We've also traded out the Thatcher completely, and it happens to be the round where Giants have finally brought some significant wall denial in the Ysera's Kaid.
Yeah, I think also the other thing that Cloud9 are going to have to worry about is that they are likely going to have to take a vertical control, and yet there are 4 C4s being held by Giants as well. Especially with the Pulse there, quite a common pick for not only this site, but as you said before, Giants like to play the Pulse anyway. They're going to have all this information. It's going to be a war of who can get more information of the opposing team, because with a Jackal and a Dokkaebi, you also have that power as the attackers. But I think you're going to have to be watching your step quite a bit, as well as having to worry about the utility that they've brought out, as well as having to worry about not only information, but the C4s as well. So it will be quite a tough round, I think, for Cloud9.
Yeah, Giants have come out so strong right here, and I think even if Cloud9 can get that top floor control and dodge the C4s, they don't have as much utility as they'd like to open up the floor unless they want to start using some of the breaching rounds from the Ash or the Zafir, because we don't have any breaching charges. You're basically just looking at Jackal's shotgun. But maybe this is a hard and fast push directly into the bomb site through Mem. Static opens it up, and Charles keen on all the way in the bomb site, taking full control. But Giants, they're holding their ground at least slightly.
Oh, there's one present on the stairs, though, who could catch them out. That's going to be Jordan. Hysterics is getting ready to jump down, should he be required to, but it looks like he nearly got caught out. Speakeasy is still up there. There's the death to Hysterics, and Cloud9 still have 3 players remaining. In goes the stun, and Jordan does creep up the stairs so they can try and catch them out. Speaky coming in from behind, but Static's going to go in for the plant regardless. 1 minute 30 still on the clock. There's so much time. With so much aggression. There we go, the plan has been done. Jordan's just waiting, biding his time. He doesn't have a C4 in hand anymore and doesn't exactly know where the players from Cloud9 are. You can see Speakeasy jumping down on the other side, but it will be Jordan who gets caught out. Shell getting a 2K at the end.
Wow.
And Cloud9, with sheer aggression and force, managed to take their first round.
And what a read from Cloud9 as well. They detected that on that bomb site, Giants did not have a solid dig-in. And Cloud9 said, look, guys, let's just absolutely send it where it hurts. Push in through Mem. Static opened it up with that first kill onto Lunametal. The pulse going down, and I can just tell that the comms would have been hectic for Giants at that point. Site was basically free for Charles pushing on in. And he, certainly took advantage of it. The plant went down with 1:26 still on the clock. That execute came down at 2:05 on the clock. Only 55 seconds into the round. That is very, very unusual.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Now, it's great to see that Cloud9 put a round on the board, but the problem is you can't repeat that kind of round every single time. They won't even be going back to the same site, well, Giants anyway. And this was the round that Cloud9, as we mentioned, they struggled to get rid of the utility. They lost a lot of their players very early on, including their hard breacher, and including Envy Taylor, who was touted at the beginning of the game, back in the pre-game desk, as being a very pivotal player of this team. He's the highest rated player on Cloud9. He consistently has been. So Cloud9 lost quite a bit and still couldn't deal with what was there and what they had still on the board to do that with. That could still be a problem here.
My question for Cloud9 is how will they do executing onto the bomb site? That's what's been a struggle for them on these bomb sites, aside from Kitchen, of course. But they do open things up, half up, with a very nice, very early kill. Only 15 seconds into the round, and that's Jordan taken out. wow, was that just a pre-fire through the window? I believe it was. That's an unfortunate one for poor Jordan on the receiving end, but at least he's got all of his utility out. Yeah, look at this. That's disgusting how you can get from that tin shed. But Giants, they don't want to let the fight come to them. They're making the fight go to Cloud9. A nice C4 through the floor, but it looks like C9 aren't wasting any time clearing from study across.
No, so far it looks okay for Cloud9, and this
What?
could...
Oh, no.
Harper moves away! I was gonna say this could be a free kill for him, but he looked away right at the wrong moment. That's one of the curses of the spectator, right? Is you know when something like that's gonna happen, but they don't. Cloud9 just continuing to push in from the south side of the map. And Luna...
It was because Harper wanted to detonate that logic bomb, get the phone call going so that his teammates could push in through study. It's just unfortunate the timing because Luna backed out at the perfect moment. Of course, at least Cloud9 have the info because of that Jackal scan. They see Luna's gone back to the bomb site. Now the roamer is actually hysterics downstairs, but I believe he's already utilized his C4.
He has, yeah. He pressed him much earlier on and it didn't get anything. But nonetheless, the roam could still work, and it could especially come back to bite Cloud9 in the late round. That's the main reason why you go for the clear after all. So far, it's not looking too disastrous. There are still 2 C4s on the side of Giants. They've been enjoying taking that utility so far. And there we go. Static going in for the shield is something that wasn't dealt with very well by Cloud9 last time, so at least they've made an improvement on that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly what they needed. Dispatching with both the Malusi Banshees and those deployable shields. Now, that's a pivotal shield there for Speakeasy. And, well, a nice aggressive gas prevents Cloud9 from peeking that doorway and taking out the shield. They've burned out ADSs. No more to deal with. Harper's trying to contend with Luna here in the closet. He has flashes, but Luna on the peak. That's exactly what he needed to do, an aggressive play. And that puts us back in the 4v4. But is this the execute for C9?
It might not be because Ysera's going to collect the next kill, and that's definitely a disappointing point for Cloud9 to find themselves at. Destroying the Vulcan shield, and there's another kill for Giant. Shell manages to get one for himself, but as he moves over into Astro, he's still looking for those players who may be around and about. In fact, he's going to rotate down. That's going to provide him with some safety, but there's the default cam, which will give Giants some information, and he finds himself downed as well. There's less than 10 seconds remaining, bear in mind, and now it's just the withstanding Zafir who is remaining, and Giants, it doesn't take very long for them to clear him up. Didn't turn out so great for Cloud9.
A really good late round there from Giants, because if we consider this, Cloud9 found the opening pick. Jordan was dispatched within 15 seconds of the round starting, thanks to Harper on that shed roof really early in the round with that DMR just tapping away. His job was to be the anvil to the hammer of his teammates. His teammates wanted to clear from study across, and, well, his job was to hold that angle and spot out any players retreating from Aviator Games through 90 back towards the bomb site. And he did a great job of that. He found one pick. Unfortunately, he did get timed and allow Luna to get back to site while he was detonating the logic bomb. So a bit unfortunate. And what's funny is Luna ended up being a really pivotal player in the end and got his revenge onto Harper when Harper tried to solo clear the Cobby. I think that was when everything started to go downhill for Cloud9. Giants really just dug in on the bomb site, and they kept that fight up to C9. That roamer of hysterics, the Malusi, was never cleared and allowed to re-roam back up to the bomb site. Despite Charl making a valiant attempt in through Trophy, which was clear, Giants made sure not to expose themselves and not to just assume that they still had control of that bomb site. They very much played well around the situation, so I must credit Giants for that.
They definitely deserve the credit. One of the big stories that's happened here in APAC North over the course of the season is the rivalry between these two teams. And you could argue that it was something of an upset when Cloud9 took the major victory, because I think all of us, obviously you weren't there, James, you were in our hearts, all of us, you're welcome, predicted that it would be Giants who would win it, and Cloud9 came and took the series for themselves. And
You know who didn't predict Giants for that event?
Was it
My
you?
dog.
Oh,
My dog,
well,
Baird, predicted Cloud9, and he was right.
well, good
And
for
the meme
that.
was born.
Anyway.
Please finish your point, Gio. I'm sorry.
I will. The point is that since then, Cloud9 have struggled to be able to beat Giants. They've still looked pretty strong in the overall context of APAC North, but this has been the thorn in their side. It's been their complete kryptonite. And right now, things could come back. Things could change. We're only 4 rounds in. But right now, Giants still look stronger, and they continue to do so as the kills come in. Static gets one in return, but the first two open from Giants makes things look better for them.
Yeah, wow, very early push there, but hey, it worked out in favor of Giants. Hysterics on the Maestro, not an operator you expect to be in opening engagements, but Hysterics has been in three of the five opening engagements so far and won it every single time. A 4v3 now. Look at this. Hysterics is like, yeah, okay, you're not going for study. This is mine. We know that diffuser... I'm not sure whether he is aware that the diffuser's on that tiles window, the study window, but he's certainly taking advantage of that free ground, that free real estate. And it's really a smart move here. A lot of people might think, oh, well, he's completely exposed to that balcony. Well, he knows there's no one on the balcony right now. And if someone does try to rappel up, he's going to hear it. And he can either play aggressively or play passively based off that information. Now I'm looking once again at Cloud9. You've got a clash to deal with. You've got all kinds of util on site to deal with. That ADS still not cleared. Ysera actually body blocked that stun from clearing the ADS, but the second one does go through. Speakeasy trying to peek from behind the shield. Cloud9 have so much work to do. And Luna is just baiting with the most ridiculous run out ever. Surely MV Taylor punishes him.
Yeah, he does. He gets him. I was wondering how that was going to go as soon as Cloud9 jumped downstairs. I was like, you never know. Luna could catch them out here. Now they have less than a minute remaining. It's going to be very hard for them to reacquire the diffuser. So for the most part, you'd think they may have to go for kills, but they're going to open up the vault wall anyway, and it could be hard given that the clash is here, and if he hasn't moved Speakeasy, he was present down prone behind the clash trying to hold on to a pixel angle. He has actually moved now. He's standing in the door of vault. It's the first kill on Static. That puts Cloud9 at a disadvantage. The smokes come out to try and obscure the vision that Giants could have onto their opponents, and the walls of games are going to continue to be open. There's a kill for Nova. That evens things up once again, but the clash is still standing, and Hysterics has been on a tear.
Nova pushes into the bomb site. Hysterics knows full well where he is, but where is that diffuser? It's an empty tent. No one from Giants on this side of the map, but can that diffuser go down? Suddenly, the advantage has swung the other way. MV Taylor may well stick this behind the shield, but Ysera will clean up the final two picks, and Giants hold it very narrowly in that 2 versus 2.
It was, you know, I respect it, but it wasn't enough. I like the fact, obviously, he had the shield there, which meant that they managed to get the plant down, but in the end, MV Taylor was all on his own. Time was not in his favor, and all Giants had to do was push up on him at that point. I do like how they did try to traverse that difficult situation. We spoke about how Hysterics had been placed in study before to make it very hard for the diffuser to be retrieved, and also the way that the clash was in, as you said before, Skull. But then the way that they opened up the walls over on the west side, so the games room wall and the vault wall, the clash had to push up to try and hold back Nova, who was coming in through there. And then it was at that point that MV Taylor tried to come around and get a flank onto that player. And that suddenly puts the clash in a much riskier position. And while the clash did survive to the end, it was still a nice way that Cloud9 tried to take advantage of that situation that looked like it could be quite difficult prior to that.
Giants looking very, very strong, but let's remember that the only round Cloud9 won thus far was actually attacking this very bomb site. So they may well find Lightning can strike twice. Executed within 55 seconds. They just rushed in through Memorial. Giants had too many players off site to contest. Now things have changed slightly. Funny 6 picks come out on both sides. Harper 6 picks once again onto the Dockerby from that Thatcher. And I think that was smart. I think that's actually the reason that Giants, it baited them to get rid of that Kaid that Ysera was playing before. And what this means is there's no wall denial whatsoever. So Ace is going to be unimpeded. Thatcher is basically unnecessary. So I like that from Cloud9. It might actually enable them to breach, which would have otherwise been very difficult had Ysera stuck that Kaid. What I will say, though, is the Frost is probably the elephant in the room here, and I don't know what kind of an impact that will have. Giants just doing cheeky things. Hysteric's going for a run out. I kind of want to see it work.
Yeah, I want to see someone get caught in a Frost trap. It sounds kind of bad, but she's been more commonly picked recently, and it makes you wonder, you know, at what point do people not get caught out by it? I know a lot of people like her because, you know, she can bring a shield as well. That's been noted quite a bit recently, so it does mean that Giants still have one of those on the board, despite the fact that they've opted to not bring a smoke, for example, and Wamai is clearly banned. So there you go. There's the shield. Straight up. There's a nice C4 that's going to be thrown out, but it won't quite catch Envy Taylor. But he does now know that there is definitely a player in Astro. But that'll be Static, who actually ends up being the first kill. That's your entry and crucially your Ash with those breaching charges that's been taken off the board.
Oh, and look at that. Beautiful position Speakeasy's in. Harper on the hunt. He hears the Dockerby call. What is that? Hello there, says Speakeasy as he jumps down as if he's Obi-Wan Kenobi, but eventually there is a refrag and Shah's doing what he does best, pushing in through Mem. He finally punishes that cheeky little Jedi, but 3 versus 3 now with just under half a round left. This could honestly swing either way.
He's trying to make up for what he can, but he will be taken out by Ysera. There's the Sophia off the board. There's a nice kill as well from Hysterix, as Nova was completely unaware of that being imminent. Now Envy Taylor's left on his own. He lacks the drones, and of course he does have his Inox, but it takes some time to do that, and he's got 3 players to go up against. He's going to peek into the site, and you can tell that the Banshee's going to be affecting him, and now they know exactly where he is. He's going to continue to peek. He won't be backing off just yet. He knows at some point Giants will take the opportunity to try and take the shot. Right now, it's just incredibly patient. Starts to move in, tries to shoot in through the wall, and this is where those shots will be coming back.
He's gonna try and smoke it, but he's walking dead into a Banshee. He'll find 1 shot. Hysterix gets what was coming to him, but 2 more to find. Yes, there's time on the clock, but let's be honest. Ysera and Jordan ain't gonna let this one happen. Oh, please just jump straight into that bear trap, please. It's a bait, actually. He goes around the corner, but he's gonna walk straight into that Banshee, and Jordan manages to cop the flick. This is probably gonna be a very nice shot there, and Giants take a very convincing half, 5-1.
Doesn't look so great for Cloud9. We've seen this team do a reverse sweep, if you can have those in best of ones, where Cloud9 just comes straight back from quite a deficit. But regardless, when you look at the scoreline as it is right now, and you think these are the 2 champion teams. I mean, technically, Giants aren't the champion team of this region, because Cloud9 are the only champion to have ever been crowned of APAC North. But these are the 2 top teams, really, when you look historically and holistically of this region. And look at that scoreline. It's brutal.
Class. Yes, and we're seeing it finally. We get it. Now I'm going to reference a tweet I saw from Lunar Metal. We'll be playing Cloud9 soon in R6 APAC League. Just remember that if we pick Glaz Ying Monty Blitz, it's a real strat. And well, we don't have the Monty, but we've got the Glaz, and we've got the Dockerby. We will
Blitz.
Hysterix teased the Blitz. Hysterix teased the Blitz. He ended up picking Zafir at the end of the day, but this is good. I love it. Disgusting. One person's disgusting, is another person's delicious. It's all right. We're talking about anchovies here, right? So to put some context to this, for those who aren't aware, we had the Year 5 Season 3.3 patch recently released, and a number of changes have come through. Frost now has the ITA secondary shotgun, which is part of the reason why you've seen her a bit more prevalent. Ace now has a slight nerf to his Selmas, and guess what? Glaz has a significant reduction in the penalty when moving, and how much that affects how well he can see through his scope. So previously, it was about 1 second, I believe, from him moving to it being, for him to wait after he was moving for his scope to become clean again. And now it's dead to rights, 0.4 seconds, 60% better. And come on, tell me Giants make this work.
I would really like to see it happen. If you didn't catch it earlier, Fnatic tried to make Glaz work, and it didn't really. Jordan's trying to go aggressive here through the Astro wall. He can't quite catch anything, and in fact, Xiao does back out somewhat, so he shouldn't be taking any damage from that, but, you know, nice try.
Now, Luna droning up ahead for his homeboy, the entry fragger, Ysera as well. It's good. You want your Glaz and your Dockerby to be droning so that they have their utilities still alive in the late round, but of course, keep in mind, Nova's played that clash quite aggressively here at 90 with Charles behind and ready to peek. Good info that Nova can gather. And when it comes down to that late round push, that final execute, the big weakness in a strategy that revolves around smokes, for example, like your Glaz, your Ying strategies, is it's kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. You throw it at the wall, and if they crack, if you can't manage to get your execute on that one time where you use all your smokes, well, then you're kind of stuffed. I hope to see Giants use their 6 smokes spread out so that they don't end up having just a one and done. And if that gets delayed, if they get met with a smoke grenade from Static, then that's not the end of the story.
After all, that was the problem that the aforementioned Fnatic did struggle with. But there's the Selma and there's the impact trick.
Nice.
So no Selma, no breach.
There you go. It's a nice one. How many Selmas we got left? 2 more left, and I think Speaky's going to save it. Does look like Giants are going to take top ground here eventually. No shield means it would be easy-ish to take from Study, but the concussion flies through and knocks Nova's shield back enough that Luna can clean him up on the second round. And they're dropping like flies, Cloud9. 5-1 at the moment on the scoreline. 5-3 at the moment. 5-2. This is getting more and more difficult. We haven't even seen the smoke execute yet. 5v1. And these guys haven't even had a chance to execute. What is this? Absolutely disgusting. Harper, give it your best shot.
Well, you tried.
So, you tried. And now you're here. What do? You won 1 round in the last 7. Now Giants have a whole lot of match points in a row.
My recommendation would be to cry. But I don't think that'll help.
I hear it can be quite a good catharsis.
Well, that's true, but would you rather have catharsis or win?
That's a good point. Well, how about this? You try your damnedest. C9 springs into action, suddenly comes back. MV Taylor aces for 6 rounds in a row. And then they can go cry later and have that sweet catharsis.
All right, I like it. Let's go with that one.
Let's lock it in, guys. Let's lock it in.
But if it doesn't happen, then...
Well, if it doesn't happen, then Gio, I'll tell you this. We have seen a beautiful showing of Rainbow Six here from what I think is the best team in the region. Now, yes, Cloud9 defeated Giants in the major. Yes, Cyclops have been nigh undefeated in Stage 2, and they've managed to beat both of these teams. But I think Giants has shown that they have some serious diversity in playstyles, and I think that is what gives them the edge up, the leg up over every other team in APAC North. Right now, they have demonstrated they can be incredibly aggressive on the defense and dismantle a team like Cloud9, who have some star fraggers like MV Taylor, like Sharp. And Giants now showing on their attack that they can methodically pick apart a flawless round out of the most defensive-favored bomb site here on Villa.
Giants have definitely been one of the most consistent teams, if not the most consistent team, in the entire region. And despite the accolades that Cloud9 can now boast after their major victory, Stage 2 has not looked quite as promising and prolific for them as it has done for Giants. This could be the start of the journey that Giants take to be able to take the next major victory. Of course, we'll have to wait for that to happen to find out if that's going to be the way. Nonetheless, the point still stands. The Giants have been doing exceptionally well. And Cloud9 have got a really tall task if they are to swing this back in their favor, as they would have to take it all the way to overtime and then win both rounds of overtime in order to get it.
To give you an idea of the different player styles we've seen from these teams, Cloud9 much more passive on their defense to what we saw Giants. They're forfeiting a lot more here to the Singaporeans. And a stat I can use to evidence that is the fact that in the first half, the average kill time, opening kill time, was 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And now in that first round, the opening kill was at 56 seconds left on the clock. That is night and day. And look at the time ticking away, still no opening engagements. Cloud9 are not playing aggressively enough to give Giants these opening fights that they want early in the round. And that might work both ways, because we've seen how good Giants early and mid-game has been at picking apart the bomb site. Look at that, another Banshee destroyed, already wall breached. Everything seems to be going step by step for Giants.
It makes you why Cloud9 aren't leaning more into some kind of roam where they could have prevented things like that from happening. You just, okay, you can put out this next Banshee that you may have kept in your pocket, but it doesn't stop the fact that the first one had to go down first. There's no one downstairs who can help any of that happen. And sure, you can rotate, but look at all this that's happening. Ysera still pushes on forwards, and there's the smokes that he's going to try and see through. This is giving them the advantage that they need. Envy Taylor, he's bleeding out. Hopper actually secures himself the first kill, though.
But this Glaz is shooting bananas for days. Ysera's found 2 so far. If you count Envy Taylor down, it's all on Charles for the match point against the 2 old guard Singaporeans from Giants.
It looks like he's using Envy Taylor as bait, and it looks like Giants might know where he is. They can read into this. Shiel just has to time everything perfectly. If he is to peek and try and get the shots, he does the attempt, but he can't actually quite secure anything. There was the attempt at the plan, and Ysera can finish off both kills needed. And that is an absolutely brutal 7-1 finish to put down the nearly ex-champions of APAC North into the dirt. Giants a dominating victory.
And what a way to close it as well. Ysera returning to form, 3 kills with Glaz in the final round. On their first attack, Giants didn't even get a chance to execute because they'd already killed everyone on Cloud9 before that point. Second attack, and Giants, you let them execute, and you better be ready for that banana shooter to be taking down all your anchors. What a showing here. Absolute dominance from Giants. There's no other way to cut it.
Looking sufficiently strong last time these two teams came to Villa. It was a 7-5. This time you shaved off 4 of those rounds to make it a 7-1. Absolutely brutal. Let's send it on back to the desk to see what they think.
Thanks so much, guys. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I was looking at this. We were